Peace and blessings. What's up, my spirituals? I've had these thoughts for a while, and these feelings of anger, and I have come to realize for the past 2 weeks now. Well, this is the second week of going through this process of getting to know myself. I have acknowledged the fact that I have very, very, very rooted, traumatic experiences and issues pertaining to Black men and boys. Now, I am going to disclaim that this is not a Black man bashing video. This is not me degrading Black men. This is not me putting Black men as in a hole. I am just expressing what I have experienced from a certain energy in different Black men. And I wouldn't say energy per se. I would say a pattern that I've seen, that I've experienced, that I've heard, anything. When I was young, I really didn't understand, boys. I didn't understand how to interact with them, Once I got older and started to develop breasts at a very young age, the guys I used to be around as elementary friends, riding the same bus and shit like that, they started to find interest in me. And they started to find interest in my body developing very fast. And my body developed like in 3rd grade. Like I had little, not big breasts, but they were developing breasts in 3rd grade. And it's because of the steroids and shit like that. So as I started to realize my body developing at a very faster rate than most of the girls in my school, I started to get negative attention from boys in my high school. And I know that some people are probably like, oh, she got issues with, she's still harboring shit from middle school and high school. You will be harboring traumatic shit too. You probably still do. And your inner child has probably been telling your ass to acknowledge them, but your adult self is probably telling you to suppress it, and it's not that serious to even talk about or bring up when it is, because it's the fucking emotions that you had as a kid that were never acknowledged. So yes, there's some people out here that still have a lot of childhood, teenage, and middle school trauma they still dealing with. Like, that's the problem with this world. We don't have compassion anymore or empathy about other people's traumas. That's neither here nor there. I don't know per se when I started become angry at Black men and boys. I'm just remembering the mistakes that I did at that age, middle school through high school, thinking about, it all started to come last year, but because of this quarantine, it's been more like, hey sis, we need your attention, okay? So I started to acknowledge the fuckery that I went through as a teenager from getting into two physical altercation with two boys in my grade, getting picked on because I was fat, because I was overweight, getting picked on for my teeth, my smile, and it wasn't from girls. The girls in my grades were like very gossipy about me, but they were like, "Hey, girl," in my face, you know. Some of them, not all of them, some of them. But the guys were more like the girls. Like they were talking about the girls in our grades in a very degrading way, especially me. And I always felt insecure about myself, that to the point where I felt like the only way I would have to get validation from men was if I did something sexual for them to like me or to find interest in me. But really, and a lot of people probably don't remember that shit, but I do. And I may have forgiven the guy that did it. I have. Not as much, but I have. But it still haunts me, because when that situation happened, that made me realize I did not have nobody protecting me. And I feel like that's where my inner child is getting this anger from, was the fact that when I was young, I didn't have no guy fighting for me, not even the men in my family. I didn't feel protected by the men in my family, because either they were here, they were gone, inconsistent, or they were the ones that was, you know, doing the picking and fighting. And I'm pretty sure that if I keep talking about this, some people are going to be mad, but at the end of the day, I don't care. This is my truth. Everybody's perspective is going to look at every situation differently, but if you see it the way you see it, that's how you see it, and can't nobody tell you what you saw. So it's so many roots to this thing. Like it deals with me having trust issues with, not only because of being disappointed from family members, from male family members, not only that, but also in platonic and romantic relationships. Even when I was dealing with guys I wasn't supposed to be with, I still saw myself as, looking at myself as like that codependent kid that was emotionally neglected when I was younger by not only my mother but my father. I still love him to this day. God rest his soul. I love that man. It was just the issue of, he was physically there, materialistically there. He just wasn't emotionally there. He didn't really want to confide in us emotionally. He just like, you know, the typical Black father that had to have the house, pay the bills, and go to work. And that's the mentality that he grew up in. So I could not knock him for how he was conditioned as a kid and growing up, and knowing that he's his own person. He was his own person, realizing that my parents were their own people going on their own journeys, and way before this whole red table talk bullshit. Like, granted, he was a caring man. He's a funny man. He was very quiet, very to himself, did not like drama, you know, alcoholic and shit like that. But my dad never abused me. It was just the emotional neglect that I kept getting. I was never really comforted as a kid. It was the fact that, I never felt like I made my dad proud of the decisions I kept making. Whether it was school or whether it was myself or the way that I thought. That, that validation. So That's the thing about me, is that feeling of feeling like I need validation from a male's perspective. And that's why I was drawn the negative attention from men, because of what I could give them and what they can take from me. And I think that's why for these years of dealing with these certain kind of men, I have come to this moment in my life where I am acknowledging the anger I have towards Black men. But I also have to acknowledge the fact that I cannot sit here and put the men that did me wrong in the category of Black men as a whole. But also I'm acknowledging the faults that are in the Black men diaspora as a whole, like the whole gaslighting deal, the whole narcissistic mentality, the whole nice guy mentality, the whole like not acknowledging your emotions and being emotionally unavailable, the mama issues, the daddy issues, the motherfucking anger issues, the never acknowledging your inner child, smoking, drinking got too much. I've realized these traits. I've realized these traits in Black community as a whole, but it's more so from Black men. I've experienced some of these traits from Black men only. I don't date outside my race, so these are the only men that I deal with. So it's like, I don't think anybody feels or understands what it feels like when you don't even feel validated by your own people, by the male species. Now, granted, I'm not saying that I've never had men come up to me and be like, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in the terms of and it's always in the terms of what can I take from you that you can give to me? It's never, what can I build up in her that she's not seeing? None of that. I've never experienced nothing like that. I've only experienced men trying to impress me, but in the wrong demeanor. For instance, try to impress me materialistically of what you can give me. You can give me money, or you can buy me clothes, or you can sit here and think you can buy your way into my heart. That's not how it's gonna work. I've even had men sit here and play the role that I wanted in a man to be, but then show their true colors once they get what they want from me, or once they get comfortable. And then that's when I've had these back-to-back traumatic lessons that I had to constantly learn because I didn't learn my fucking lesson in the first place. So the way that these roots, these inner child traumas that are coming up, they have been hard. I love Black men, but when I was younger to now, I've always had this feeling that Black men weren't riding for me. Like, this one feeling will not go away. And I understand why, because she just wants to be acknowledged. And my issue is that the root of it is the fact that when I was younger, I never felt like I was protected by the bad things that happened to me, by the abuse that I got. And even with that, I didn't even feel protected with the men that I was with, because I let myself deal with men that didn't even want to wear rubbers when we had sex. And realizing that I let myself be in these relationships, these situationships, and then in the end be let down be disappointed, resentful, angry towards these men that I've dealt with, but then not realizing that I put myself through this shit. Not the things that happened to me when I was younger. No, this I'm talking about what I have been dealing with last year to now. Even before this whole pandemic, even before I turned 21. When I was my teenage and adolescent years, I wasn't taught to love myself. I wasn't taught to tell a man, no, this is not what I want. I was taught to comfort black men. I was taught that, oh, boys will be boys. I was taught that if a guy hits me, that means he loves me. I was taught those things. I was never taught to love my body. I was taught that if a guy is picking on you, that means he likes you. And then these same guys that picked on me, they would try to talk to me behind closed doors. So having to build your self-esteem up after years of abuse, after years of giving and giving and giving your all and letting men take from you, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's like a wake-up call. It's like when this pandemic happened, my inner child roots was just like,
sis, hi. So we need you to acknowledge us so we can, ascend and move on, and heal, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit, you got this abuse right here, you know what I'm saying? You need to pay attention to it.
It all makes sense why I have always been the aggressor. When men approach me, they will always be like, oh, you're so aggressive. Like, why? Who hurt you? Like that triggers me. That makes me feel like how I'm feeling and how I'm hurting is invalid, but it's invalid to you. And when I had guys coming up to me being like, or having a conversation with guys or talking to them, and then I would say some snark remark, or I would clap back, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, who hurt you?" Don't say shit like that. Even I don't care if you're saying it as a joke, because obviously it hurts me. Don't say that. And even at those times where it would, like, I just got mad a little bit, I ain't gonna lie. When I thought about the times where guys would text that or even say that to me, it pisses me off even more, and it makes me more angry at you because you said that and you making it seem like I'm harboring hurt, when in reality I was. And also not only harboring, but projecting those negative experience to different guys. And then now that I'm more connected with my intuition, I'm starting to acknowledge more of the patterns, because I still have those same men with those same patterns from the men in my past try to, approach me and try to talk to me. But at this point in my life, it's just not it. And even if this pandemic didn't happen, it still would have been not it, because at this point in my life, I really got to focus on me and what future husband, future partner I am manifesting, because ain't nobody got time to be trying to fix anybody. It ain't the time to work out anything with a past relationship. It ain't the time. The thing that needs your time is you. In conclusion, I'm still working through my feminine energy to help me heal those certain parts of me that my divine masculine is not able to do, but also give myself the guidance that I know that I need in order for me to get past this anger towards black men. And I know there's some good men out here. I'm not saying that all men are bad. I'm saying the ones that I've dealt with and I have experienced were not good for me. But I'm also not enabling or babying black men and their lack of accountability. I am not your mother. I am not your nanny. What I'm also going to do is also acknowledge my end as well, which I pretty much am good at that. I always acknowledge and take accountability of what I could have, what I did in the situation, or what I've done in said situations. It's never been like this because I've always been a one-sided person. Like, I always looked at myself in the victim mentality glasses, but now I've had to step back and be like, okay, so Bree, what you just did was wrong, and I'm gonna tell you what's wrong with what you did and what's the solution we're gonna do to get past this. I was always that person that was like, could look at everything in different perspectives, and especially the perspective of what the guy would perceive. It's always that, oh, you did this to me, so you're gonna pay, you da 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 da, and never really looking at like, what little red flags was he giving throughout that whole time I was dealing with him, But yeah, it's always about growth. Well, guys, I'm going to end the video here because I'm going on a ramble instead of staying on topic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments section if you all have dealt with this situation, or how do you feel about the perspective that I'm coming from. You can always hit me up on my social medias as well. They'll be in the description box below. I hope you guys have a great rising day or night. Peace, y'all.